Hi guys, my name is Patrick. I work as a technician in London for a services provider, and I've started this YouTube channel to talk about life as a technician, skills you need to be a technician, and exams and things like that. And this video is going to be about the CompTIA Security Plus exam, which is a great exam to take. Just going to be talking about the exam in general, different points about it, my personal experience, tips I'd give for anybody who's looking to take the exam and things like that. So we'll get underway. So the CompTIA Security Plus exam, it's a vendor neutral exam, meaning that it's recognized and respected by different companies out there like Cisco, Microsoft, VMware, Dell, and so on. They all understand and actually have input on this exam as well. It's a great exam for those of you who are sort of at the bottom level of your, or the lower levels of your career as a technician, or even in, if you've had a few years experience, a good one to get that's going to help you push up. Although in my experience and in my general awareness, there isn't really such a thing as an entry-level security role, because it's normally a way that people sort of branch off a more third-line infrastructure role into security. However, it's still a really good exam to have on your CV or resume, as it's sometimes called in different parts of the world. So I did the Security Plus exam just over 2 years ago, and although that is a while ago, you can actually still take it now. However, CompTIA have reviewed it and released a newer version. So I personally took the SY0-501, but the new version of the exam is the SY0-601. If you can take the 501 now, it's absolutely fine, because your employer honestly doesn't care which revision of the exam you took. They just want you to be certified, and I think it's unlikely that they would be annoyed with you or upset with you that you decided to take the version that's slightly older rather than the most recent version. So I did that exam. I had about 49 questions, I believe, and I was given just under 90 minutes to do it. So if you do the math, it's generally about 2 minutes per question. Now, there were some questions where I felt that majority of questions in these exams are multiple choice, by the way. There were some questions where I could read the question and then figure out, okay, the answer should be something like this, and I could instantly pick it out from, A, B, C, or D. There were some questions where I thought, this question is worded in a bit of a strange way, and it's designed to trick me up, because it will say things like, choose the most relevant solution, or the least applicable solution, or the solution that does not meet the requirements. And that's something you need to be very careful of. You absolutely must read the questions, and read especially the last bit of it, because that's going to have the important words that you need to be careful of and be mindful of, so that you don't lose your self-marks. Because I've done that in the past with exams, and that was in mocks and in real exams. It's a real bummer. So be careful doing that. I finished all the questions with about, I think, 15 to 20 minutes to spare. Some of them did take me a little bit longer to go through, but I did have some spare time to go through. One nice thing with CompTIA exams is that you can flag a question to be reviewed. Maybe if you've made a guess on it or you're not 100% sure, you can go back to that question, then enter your new answer, or stick with your answer if you still think it's the right one. There's normally a button you click on in the bottom right that allows you to do that. Once you've done that, you can then go through all your questions again from start to finish if you want. And you may find that maybe there's a question later on in the test that you remember the answer to, and when you go back to one of your flagged questions, that particular question that you have flagged, you might have had something in another question that's made you remember the answer, or giving you a little bit of a steer in terms of direction of what you need to look at. That's not just for the Security Plus exam, that's for other exams as well. So that was my experience, really. Just before we go on to another thing, I was actually meant to talk about the training resources I used. So I used Professor Messer. He has a free online course on YouTube. He is honestly one of the best instructors, or at least one of the best online instructors that I've ever had. His training is very, very good. Fantastic explanations of everything. He's got, I believe he uses Keynote, which is the Apple version of PowerPoint. He goes through and explains everything. His audio quality is absolutely fantastic. So if you're watching James Messer, well done, very good job. And I used all of his videos, his playlists on his channel for SY0501. I've used his playlist for other exams I've done as well, which I'll make videos about. I went through all of his training, and then I basically started looking for mock exams and practice questions and things. He does have some on his website, which I used. I got a copy of them, went to work, printed them out. Actually went to a print shop and printed them out because it was something like, oh gosh, at least 120 pages, and I had a feeling that I was going to get a few suspicious looks because the actual, well, it's more than 100 actually, it's probably 200 or 300. It's actually about that much. I don't know what that is exactly in pages, but it's a lot. So I took that to a print shop and just got it spiral bounded. And he's got some really good questions where he's tried to make them not a brain dump, not a clone of the exam, but as close to the real exam as it could possibly be. He's done that in such a way that he's not getting you to just memorize every fact you need to know for the exam or every fact about everything, but more in the way that he's trying to get you in the routine of understanding how CompTIA is going to ask the questions and the sort of way you need to answer them. Because there will be questions, and this happens with almost every exam, where you think, I've read the question, but none of the answers are things that I would choose, because none of the answers are the things that you would actually do in your job. But one of the answers is the thing that CompTIA wants you to choose, or Cisco or Microsoft or whatever. So bear that in mind. I found that his practice exams also have a bit on the bottom where you can scan the QR code and it actually takes you to his website, where he explains, this is why this answer is correct, but this is also how these answers are wrong. And if you get your answers wrong in your mocks, honestly, his explanations are really good because it just kind of gives you that extra steer that you may not be aware of. So that's a really good thing for you to look at. Definitely have a look at him. Totally worth it. If your employer lets you expense the cost of, paying for his premium stuff where you can download it and so on, great. If he doesn't, I think his online course should be just fine. But use his resources. His resources are really, really good. As for the exam itself, that was done at a testing centre, so Pearson VUE, which has a large number of testing centres all over the place, certainly where I live in London. But they have resources to, I think, possibly you might be able to take them online now, but I'm not entirely sure. But I personally booked one morning off work. I went to the testing centre and just figured out where it was in terms of what door to knock on. Then I went to a cafe around the corner and just sat there going through my flashcards, which I made myself, and some of the mock questions that were in the mock paper that Professor Messer provides. I personally went in thinking that I got some goodish marks on the practice exams I did, but I felt it was going to be close. I personally told myself, you've done as much preparation as you can now, you booked the exam, you got to do it. And then I went in. I personally was a little bit anxious when I got to the end, when you have to do that survey, just about your demographic and everything. But eventually it said you've passed, and then you get your certificate, you get your printout straight away with your modules and your score, which is really helpful, especially if you don't pass the exam, because that's basically an indicator of saying you need to go away and learn these things a bit more. Overall, really good exam to do. I know some people will say, oh, I studied for 1 week and then I passed the exam from scratch, or I studied for 3 weeks and I passed the exam because it was easy. Everybody's different. These exams are not pointless. People will say, oh, skip Security Plus, skip Network Plus, because it's just, a baby certification. It's not going to get you anywhere. If the exams were pointless, then they wouldn't exist in the first place. So it's a really, really good certification to get, and you can actually use that to renew your A+ or your Network Plus exams. because they're basically on a credit-based score, which is all explained on the CompTIA website, which I'll put a link into. So if I were you thinking about taking the Security Plus exam, I would totally recommend it. Really good exam to do. It won't necessarily help you break into a security role, or it won't guarantee you a security role, but it's going to be the first sort of first rung up the ladder, I should say, of getting into that more advanced third line role or security role, or maybe helping you branch off into security. You know, after this, you can maybe look at do things like CISA Plus, SSCP. If you've got maybe a bit more experience, you could look at doing your CISSP. And then there are more advanced certifications go down, like the CASP certification, Certified Ethical Hacker. And then you get some more vendor certifications like the Cisco CyberOps and Palo Alto exams and so on. So for those of you who are thinking about doing your Security Plus exam, I strongly recommend you do it. It will benefit you. It may not benefit you straight away, but it will certainly benefit you in the long run when you start applying for jobs and when you want to progress your career. That's about it really that I wanted to talk about. But yeah, I really hope this was helpful for you. I'm going to put another video up about a few other exams that I've done and that I'm working towards, and just sort of general queries that people could find helpful in relation to sort of careers as a technician and things like that. So I hope you joined it. I hope you enjoyed it, sorry. And hopefully I'll see you on the next video.